And we are live. Welcome to Open Source Block Explorers number 12. Griff Green is at Burning Man, so you're stuck with me, Mitch. How we start off these calls is everyone will have a quick 30-second intro, but the purpose of the call is Etherscan is a really, really nice tool that a lot of folks use, but it's a little bit of a central source of information. So we want to talk about other sources of information that we can provide, and open source ones if possible. So my name is Mitch Kozowski. I am with the ETH Prize Initiative, which focuses on pain points in the Ethereum ecosystem. Next up is Andrew. Take it away.
Sure. I'm Andrew Carbino. I am the project manager for POA Networks Open Source Block Explorer. I hope to show off a demo today of what we've been building. Looking forward to doing that.
Daisy chain it. Decentralized. I guess I have to do it. Thomas, you're up next for an intro.
Sorry, I'm Jay Rush, working on a project called QuickBlocks. Looking for leadership to tell me what to talk about.
Yeah, that'd be something interesting to talk about. And Emil, to wrap it up.
Hi guys, my name is Emil. I'm working for a project called Web3Scan. We're building a multi-blockchain explorer and basically an end game of building a data aggregator of all sorts of interesting information. Yeah.
And Emil, you're first on the agenda, so if you'd like to take it away.
Yeah, so I've been on a number of times before, so I demoed a few things about the Explorer product of Web3Scan. We don't have any updates, but I do encourage people to visit explorer.web3scan.net to take a peek at the Explorer product. It's basically the end of the summer vacation here, and things have been a bit quiet with all the folks working on this. And next week we start moving all the parts again. I do want to make an announcement. I spent the last 2 weeks personally on a new project which I call PolkaScan, which is basically a block explorer for the Polkadot relay chain network, which is running in a proof of concept already. That will eventually very likely be a block explorer template for the whole substrate technology stack. Parity is working on very hard to develop and to get it to a mainnet launch somewhere in 2019. I guess in the upcoming weeks I can show some stuff about that. What we intend to do is have a MVP product block explorer for the Polkadot testnet ready somewhere at the start of October. I'm hosting the first Dutch Polkadot meetup there, and this is one of the agenda items. So to get a bit into the technical challenges, the relay chain basically is a proof of stake chain of the Polkadot network, and some of the basics of the network are running. So blocks are being produced. There are validators which validate the blocks, which is the equivalent to a miner in a proof of stake network. And there is a nominator function in the network, which allows anyone with the native token of the Explorer to nominate a validator, and then you can split the revenue of the validation action, or you can outsource the validation action. Well, there's quite some interesting stuff going on with transactions, because that's really the next logical step after you are able to harvest the blocks through the RPC. The Polkadot substrate has a bit more of a abstract notion of transactions, and they call it extrinsics. So anything that comes from outside of the chain is called an extrinsic. Even the date, for example, which is, I guess, an external thing, is an extrinsic. So what I basically try to do with this is just to learn how this substrate technology works. I think it's pretty promising, and there are some really interesting design choices very early on. I learned everything about Ethereum from building the Ethereum and EVM block explorer. So this is a valuable exercise for me, and I look forward to updating everyone here. One final thing I would like to tell everyone about this, that on the Web3 Foundation GitHub, there is a collaboration section, and in the collaboration section, issue number 8 is an open call for the community to start bootstrapping all these fringe technologies such as block explorers, node explorers, and so on. And I would encourage the whole open source block explorers now community to get their hands dirty and look at this interesting stuff. It's really promising in my opinion. So that's it for now.
Emil, did you share that in the Telegram chat? That link?
Not sure. It's in the agenda for today, the hyperlink, but I will share it in the Telegram chat as well.
Perfect. Thank you. Cool. So next on the agenda, we have Jay Rush. I'm not sure if you have too much of an update, but if you'd like.
Can I ask a question or two?
Let's go nuts.
Polkadot stuff?
Sure thing.
How different is the RPC, or how much work was it to get connected to that network as far as the code that queries the node?
Yeah, so to answer that, it's really easy to get a node running because at this time quite some development effort has been put in by the community to develop the Docker images of the software. Whenever there's a new release or a new build of the software, a new Docker image is also released, and with some very simple runtime commands, parameter flags, you can get the RPC, which is part of the Polkadot client. You can get that up and running. There is currently no documentation of which methods are available, but if you are a bit handy with that, you can find that in the Polkadot Rust source. I could help you with that. It's a very simple file where you can see these methods. And basically what I'm trying to do with this, whenever I run into a limitation because the data is not there, because the RPC is not available, that basically gets to be an issue on the Substrate or Polkadot GitHub, which, well, ideally, and hopefully that happened already, is being picked up by Parity or some of the other folks involved in the community to get that into a pull request, which will lead to a change in a subsequent Polkadot release.
That's excellent. You helped me get a Polkadot stood up, but then I couldn't get into the RPC. But I hear you. You have to go read the source code. I get it.
Well, for the Polkadot RPC, you don't need the source code because you can get the basic, you can verify that your endpoint for the RPC is working, and I can give you a...
well, it's not documented.
No, not very well, or you need to know where to look. But one thing that I think would resonate with you. We've had all these discussions, of course, about making changes to Ethereum to better suit the needs of the community. This is actually a very good time to get involved as a developer, to share all your pain points and experiences with the developers of Substrate. I think it's it will be a relevant platform, and I think it would be valuable to get your insights, what you're doing with accounts, fed back to the developers as well.
I have one more question for you. Okay. So this chain, if I understand it, and I don't really, is that it's a chain that is a chain of chains.
Polkadot is a relay chain, and it will have multiple parachains, which in turn connect to other blockchains.
Do you think that your scraper or a scraper will be watching the Polkadot chain, or watching the Polkadot chain and like all of its parachains, or some portion of its parachains?
I believe some of the stuff I'm building with the substrate or Polkadot Explorer will be generic to all these parachains as well. But there is some particular specific information in the relay chain as well, such as who is nominating, who is validating, and the whole security of the whole stack is managed by that relay chain. So it is a very good starting point, and I guess time will tell how generalizable it is to all that other stuff which is built on that stack.
All right, I'm really excited. So maybe I'll see you over there someday.
I think.
Thanks.
Cool. All right, I think with that, then we could hop to Andrew, see if you have your demo ready.
Sure. So when we started this project, what our goal was to, as a sidechain, we don't have access to Etherscan. Just they're closed source, as everybody here knows. So when we set out, we wanted to create a replica of Etherscan, including all their developer tools, their APIs, so on and so forth. But we wanted to build on top of that and make it a better experience for our users and for Ethereum users. So this is our homepage here. As you can see, we have blocks coming in. All the events on the Explorer are real time, so there's no need to refresh if you're on your address page or anything like that. We can just click on an account here. This is a contract page. Now, this is about a week old, so a lot of this has been redesigned. This now has a new look, but it's not on our staging environment here yet. We also have contract verification. This particular contract's already been verified. This is from our Dope Raiders, which was a game. It's actually the #1 game in blockchain right now, ahead of CryptoKitties, which is funny. So this is a verified contract here. You can read here all the methods of the contract. We have our API here. We have 6 more endpoints, or 4 more endpoints that are in master right now, which will be updated next week in the staging environment. If anybody wants to take a look there, which we can put a link in the video. But that's basically it as of right now. We are almost to Etherscan's, or where Etherscan is right now. We've got some big updates coming in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully we'll be there. Is there any questions?
I just want to say that that's quite impressive how far you've gotten in such a short time. Congrats.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And we'll be supporting 5 networks right now. We'll be supporting Ethereum mainnet, Kovan, Ropsten, and SOOOOO, which is our testnet, and then of course POA core. We'll have on Monday or Tuesday for the networks up, and hopefully end of next week, Ethereum mainnet will be up.
Awesome stuff.
I have a question. Is that as you went through Etherscan's APIs, did you identify any things that you think you can add or improve on? There
was, I mean, and I'll be nice, but there was a number of things we wanted to keep it very similar. So if anybody wanted to switch to our Explorer, our API endpoints, we wanted to, have the same exact layout as them. We do have, a try it out, so you can basically click on this, and then you can try out all our endpoints. There was a number of issues, and no documents that, and a lot of their endpoints could be improved. So on our version 2,
I can think of a number of them.
Yeah, exactly. And so our version 2 will be an improved version of what Etherscan offers.
Yeah, so as much as I like to pretend to be completely decentralized, once in a while I do actually get some data from them. So there's plenty of things that would be very nice, actually. So.
Yeah. So in our in a lot of our code, we document where we differ, why we differ, and some different aspects there, and why we made a change. So if you do look into the source code, we do list everything right in the code.
Is there anything that kind of jumps out, like any specific one change? It's like, okay, this is where we, it's a much better improvement over what they provide.
Well, we wanted to stick to exactly what they provide to begin with. So a lot of our tokens, and again, we don't have the token endpoints up here, but we added a lot of extra stuff for the tokens, extra flags, just because they weren't inclusive enough. If somebody is building a dApp, they need a lot more information than what they were offering. So I can't show you right now, but a lot of the token API endpoints have a lot of different, basically you can customize them a lot more.
Okay, so I have a question.
Sure.
You're very much aware that Etherscan has all these contract sources, and most of the contracts that have been made public have been made public on Etherscan. They basically compiled these contracts, created the ABI, and the validated that the bytecode matches the bytecode which is deployed on the mainnet. And I guess, if I understand correctly, that Etherscan offers this smart contract read function on the smart contract details page, which allows you to perform all these methods which access storage of the smart contract. Are you with me so far?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Question basically is, you would at least need a repository with all these ABIs to be able to query these the smart contract state, and ideally you would validate and all these contract sources yourself. Well, since you built a contract validator or a compiling engine, and I assume that's for the most recent versions. So what is the status of that, or could you comment on what I've been saying?
Sure. So we will be taking a lot of the data Etherscan has, of course. Just when we do have Ethereum mainnet, so we do have a lot of those contracts validated already for our users, but we'll be exporting all our data as well. So anybody who deploys our Explorer can easily have all the contracts validated, or can verify that they're accurate when they do launch our Explorer. And we'll also eventually be building a decentralized validating engine, basically, where you can check to actually verify that the bytecode matches with the source code, what they're inputting. So this is on our roadmap. I don't have a time frame yet, but it is something that we intend on building. Yeah,
I know firsthand that it's quite challenging to build something like that. We've been struggling with that, and we came up with a plan for that so far. But it is a pickle.
Yes, 100%. Yes, but we do want to provide all the contracts, so anybody can at any time just import them into their Explorer, whether they have a private chain or whatever. Whichever Explorer that they choose to have, and have all the data available.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, man.
See, an example of something that might be an enhancement would be to take all of those ABIs and export that. There's this thing called a 4-byte directory, where
Yes.
you can get the function signatures based on the 4 bytes. So that would be extremely useful to a lot of people, I think. And I think it comes right out of those repositories of the smart contracts, doesn't it? Or would it?
Yeah, so I can tell there was a lot of user input that uploaded to it recently, because some of the end tail of that doesn't exactly match up. I'm not sure why. For an example, is like token transfers. It comes out with a different signature than what it actually is. But yes, it would be good to actually have that all verified and make sure that it matches, and then provide that to the public as well.
Yeah, that's like a really nice function, and it's useful. And it doesn't require you to have the API yourself, which is, I mean, if you were being super rigorous, you would probably definitely want to have the code. But yeah, that would be an excellent function, an excellent API.
Yep, I'll make a note of it and put it towards the top of our list.
Cool. And if people want to play around with this code, where does the GitHub repo live?
It's at github.com/POA network and then /BlockScout. BlockScout is our new name for it. It was rebranded late last week, so it should be up and live within the next couple weeks. So that was our staging environment, but hopefully we'll get that up and so everybody can take a look at it.
Yeah, so I have one more question. As we've all discussed in the channel, it is quite expensive for a mainnet explorer to go all the way back to Genesis with all the blocks, transactions, and so on and so on. That's terabytes of data. Will your block explorer be a transient type of explorer? So it will follow the chain tip and remove data which is far back to save on storage, or what's your plan with that?
Yeah, we'll have a full block explorer, so you'll be able to see all transactions from Genesis. And if you chose to deploy your own explorer using our code, then you could be up and active within an hour, or well, less time than that, but to get relevant data. Basically, our indexer works backwards, so it goes from the chain tip.
So I guess for most other networks, the consortium nets and the test nets, it's not necessarily a problem with the size of the chain. But for Ethereum mainnet, aren't you running into some sort of capacity limitations to service that?
Not yet. I'm sure we will, just like everybody else is. We have some growing pains, so that's why, again, we're not showing Ethereum mainnet yet. We've got to get it up and active and make it workable, just like Etherscan. That's our target goal. That's our first target, is so they get the same user experience as they do on Etherscan.
Okay, great, thanks.
Cool. Well, if no one has any more questions on that, or just open the floor to any last comments, and if we don't have any of that, we'll probably close out the call. But does anyone have anything else they'd like to get off their mind?
Is everybody getting excited for the fall conference season?
Yes and no. I'll be going. Who's going? So I'll be at ETH Berlin, Shanghai Blockchain Week in Beijing, and then also East San Francisco and DevCon. You guys making all those trips as well?
Maybe the Web3 and then the status and then the DevCon, I think.
Nice. So that's like that. That's like
it's like late October. Late October.
Yeah, for sure, DevCon, maybe the Web3 Summit the week before.
Yeah.
We should have people at all those as well.
Great.
What about you?
Sure. I don't know. Maybe DevCon. I'm not quite sure yet.
I think there's a lot of folks that are a little burnt out. That's definitely a concern. But it should be fun. It should be fun stuff. Cool.
All right, great.
All right. Well, with that, I think I'll go ahead and end this call. We'll be alive in a couple weeks, so at the start of September. We'll hope to see you then, and get you next time.
Thank you.
See you later.
Yeah.
Bye.